The most sort of visible kind of manifestation of sort of mental health concerns, I suppose, was when I was a bit younger. Yeah, my behaviour had started to become a bit strange. I was walking along the road near Cemetery Junction, as it happened, and I got into this kind of feeling that there were sort of like signs or like messages or hints or something like that in various events, and I started to feel I was detecting patterns in things like the way people moved past in a certain rhythm, and that led me to feel that this kind of pattern or whatever, it was something that I needed to align myself with in some way. So I started feeling as though I could sense what it was, like different pressures in the atmosphere. And so I kind of started shifting around, and the warmth of the sun, and all these things seemed to have significance. And by then I'd sort of like stopped in one place, and I sort of felt that if I kind of aligned myself to the various forces that were happening, that would create the opportunity for something significant to occur, which in a way it did, because someone called an ambulance and I got carted off to hospital. But that time I sort of was aware of other people around. I wasn't totally aware of them, but I just sort of went into this curious kind of, I don't know how you describe it, almost like a trance or something, where things were sort of half real and half not real. When I realised where I was, which I didn't at first, but I was very anxious because I thought, well, they'll sort of pronounce me to be some kind of lunatic and institutionalised, because there were sections when you're there against your will or without being able to make a decision, you feel as though you're trapped. I didn't want to do or say anything that I thought would give them any kind of ammunition for sort of deciding that I needed to stay there any longer than the minimum. They gave me some sort of medication. Once I got used to it, I quite enjoyed it. It was relaxing, and nobody, you could just wander about, kind of chat to the other patients. The nurses in that were kind and helpful, but I felt that the actual psychiatrists, but I didn't really have any confidence in him or them. He didn't inspire any confidence that he really understood what I was saying particularly. I woke up in the middle of the night and I started to have the idea that my blood was separating into two halves. One half, the blue half, which was cold blood, and the other half was the red half, which was warm. And that the cold was getting colder and the warm was getting warmer. And then it occurred to me that if the cold blood were to freeze, that might send splinters into my heart and sort of damage me. I got into a state of mind where I really believed that this was happening. In a way, it's like a sort of dream that you're having while you're awake. And that became so frightening that I started screaming out loud because the thought of it was so scary, and that's sort of like someone came along and calmed me down again. Obviously I was acting odd, but you sort of feel different and almost contradictory things at the same time. A large part of my mind didn't think it was odd at all, just it sort of felt, in fact, the opposite, felt as though it was like a sort of heightened sense of normality rather than feeling ill. The best you can do is to be a bit sympathetic, supportive of people, but what goes on in their minds is entirely more or less their own thing. And you've got no idea, even if they, purport to be telling you, you really got no idea. And so you may as well respect that.